Okay, so 7.3 deals with mean, median, and mode. And so the first part here, we'll talk about the mean. I want you to notice that the mean is just an average of a set of numbers. And the way we find the average is we add up all the numbers that we have, and then we divide by the number of items that we have. Okay, so my first problem here says 7 students in a psychology class conducted an experiment on mazes. Each student was given a pencil and asked to successfully complete the same maze. The timed results are below. Okay, so if you notice we have our 7 students here and their times. And the first question says, who completed the maze in the shortest time? So who had the fastest time? Well, by looking at my numbers, it appears that Carlos did it the fastest. Who took the longest time? Looking again at our times, it appears that Danny took the longest to finish this. Now, the next part here says, let's find the mean time. So I'm going to pull up my calculator. There we go. And the way we're going to find the mean is we're just going to add the numbers together. So I'm going to take 13.2 plus 11.8 plus 10.7 plus 16.2 plus 15.9 plus 13.8 plus 18.5. Okay, and I'm going to hit equals. So the number so far I'm coming up with is 100.1. So let me write that down here. So that's 100.1. But then remember, now we need to divide by the number of items that we have. Well, we know there were 7 people. So if I pull up my calculator again, now I'm going to divide that number by 7. It equals, and I'm coming up with 14.3. That is the average time. Okay? Now, the next question here says, how many students took longer than the mean time and how many students took shorter? So how about if we do this? How about if we say L for longer? How many people took longer than 14.3? I would say 1, 2, 3 of them. And then S for shorter, how many took less than 14.3? Then I would say 1, 2, let's see, 3, and Carlos makes 4. And there we go. All right. So now, the next part here says, let's find the mean of the following test scores. Okay, so again, I'm going to take my calculator, and I'm going to add 87 plus 75 plus 96 plus 91 plus 78, and I'm going to come up with 427. And now I need to divide that number by the number of tests that we had. It looks like there's 5 of them. So if I take that number and divide it by 5, I am now coming up with 85.4. All right. Now, the next part here, we are finding a student's GPA. This is real important. Most of us can probably relate to this when we're trying to figure out our GPA. So the first part here is every grade has a point value. An A is always worth 4 points. A B is always worth 3. Again, an A is always worth 4 points. A C is always worth 2 points. A D is worth 1 point. Now, I don't have it here because we didn't get any in this class, but if we had an F would be worth no points or 0 points. Now, every grade has a point value. So again, A is 4, B is 3, C is 2, D is 1, F is 0. Now, every class has a number of credit hours. And so some classes are worth 3 hours, some are worth 1 hour, some are worth 2. Now, the way we're getting these numbers over here is what we're doing is we're multiplying these numbers together. Okay, so 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12, 2 times 1 is 2, 1 times 2 is 2. If you notice down here I wrote a total. What I want to do is I want to add up my total points. So I'm going to take 12 plus 9 plus 12 plus 2 plus another 2. So we have a total of 37 points. Now, in order for us to find our GPA, what we need to do is we also need to add up the number of credit hours that we took. So I'm going to add up 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2. So we had a total of 12 hours. To find the GPA, what we do is we take our points and we divide it by our hours. Now, when you're doing this on your calculator, let me go ahead and show you. So let me clear that out. So we have 37 points. We're dividing it by 12. In GPA, we normally have two numbers to the right of my decimal point, or rounding to the nearest hundredth. So if you notice, I'm coming up with 3.08 with a whole bunch of threes. I want to round to the nearest hundredth, which is my 8. Since the number to the right of that is a 3, my GPA would just be a 3.08. The next thing we're going to talk about is what we call the median. And it says the median of a set of numbers in numerical order, numerical order, meaning they need to be arranged from the smallest to the biggest, is the middle number. If the number of items is odd, the median is the middle number. If the number of items is even, then the median is the mean of the two numbers. So let's see what we mean by that. It says find the median of the set of numbers, always arrange the numbers from smallest to biggest. So the first thing I want you to notice, my numbers here are in order from smallest to biggest. What we're looking for is the middle number. So I'm going to take out the first one and the last one, and the second one and the second to the last, and the third from the front and the third from the last, and there's my median. So 57 is my median number. Now again, remember, my numbers need to be arranged from smallest to biggest. So when I look at this next problem, the first thing I notice, my numbers are not in order. So I'm going to arrange them in order first. So I'm going to write 36. That's the smallest one. The next one we should have would be 65. After 65, we should have 71. And then 78. And then we have, what else? Let's see, 88. And let me move this over a little bit. After 88, I have 91 and 295. So let me do this. 91, 95, and another 95. So I'm going to start taking away this one and that one, and this one and that one, and this one and that one. And if you notice, these are the two now that I have in the middle. So what we do to find the median is we just add them up and divide by 2. We find the average of those two numbers. So 78 plus 88 is 166. And if we divide that by 2, we should come up with 83. All right, so the next thing we have here is what we call the mode. So the mode of a set of numbers is a number that occurs the most often. It says it's possible for a set of numbers to have more than one mode or to have no mode at all. So when I look at this first set of numbers, I want to see, is there a number that occurs the most? Well, I notice that both 14 and 77 occur the most. They both occur twice. So 14 and 77 is my mode. In the next problem, it says find the mode of the list of numbers. So what's the number that occurs the most? The number that actually occurs the most is 15. Now you might say, well, 10 occurs twice, but remember, we're looking for the number that occurs the most, and 15 occurs the most. All right. So continuing with that one here, it says, let's find the median and the mode of the list of numbers. So remember, if we're going to find the median, we're going to list our numbers in order. So I notice that I have 3 15s. Okay, so let's get rid of those. Then I have a 16 and an 18. And after that, my next smallest number would be 26, and we have 2 of those. So this one here and that one there. We also have a 30 and a 31 and a 35. Okay, so from here it's easy for me to see that my mode is 15. So I'm going to go ahead and just write that down. My mode is 15. Now remember, if I want to find my median, I need to get rid of the first number and the last one. Second one, second to the last. Third one, third to the last. The next one to the last. These are my two middle numbers, so I'm going to find the average of those two. I'm going to take 18 plus 26 and divide them by 2. So if I take my calculator, 18 plus 26 is 44. Divided by 2, my median is now 22.